So how you doing? You're looking good. You're looking good. Yeah. I'm just so excited to be celebrating our anniversary month. Unity's been around here in Naperville since 2007 in April. And this month we've been kind of looking back at our beginnings and how we started and why we started. And I came up with this vision called the Path of Divine Potential up here on the screen. And we've talked a little bit about what it is, but the whole idea is to recognize that not only when you come here as a spiritual community, when you're part of the group online, are we walking this path together, but when you walk out the door, you're still on the path. There's a lot going on for each one of us in our life. Every moment, an opportunity to reveal divine potential. And we started the first week talking about that sun in the center as a representation of God in us. And looking at that circle shape of the sun, we recognize that a circle is infinite, it's eternal, and it's unlimited resources centered in us. God is my source, at my center, and I'm centered in God. God is my source, at my center, and I'm centered in God. Would you say that? God is my source, at my center, and I'm centered in God. So we can't separate ourselves from all that God is. And that's the thing I want you to remember most on your path of divine potential is you can never be separate from it. So whatever you're going to meet along the path, you're always going to have the resources within you to meet it so that it feels connected to your higher self, to the Christ within. And as we walk that path, we're going to have opportunities to allow that source and center to express through us. And we started looking at the points of flame off the sun. Last week, we talked about the point of flame healing. As you walk your path, you're going to have an opportunity to heal. Trust me on this. If it's not physical, it'll be mental, it'll be emotional, it'll be the ego, always needing healing pretty much every day, every minute of our lives. And as we recognize that, what's important to know is we're not going to find healing somewhere, but that what we want in healing is we want divine life to flow in our bodies. Healing means being wise in our thinking. It means feeling love in our relationships. And if we're not, that's when healing is needed. And that healing is not something you go out and buy, and it's not something that you even ask God for because God is already giving it. This is the thing that we miss a lot when we are needing healing, is to think it's somewhere over there. But all the while, the life, the love, the wisdom, the supply is right here within us. So the healing process is actually getting the obstacles out of the way of what's already within us. And obstacles show up because of our consciousness. Consciousness precedes manifestation. We talked about that. So what we need to do is remove the obstacles in consciousness, false beliefs. Beliefs that say, you know, I really wanted to take that class, but there's just not enough money to do it this season. Is there really not enough? Is it possible that there is divine potential within us that has a way to make this possible? Who knows the divine ideas that Spirit can give us here? If the body is feeling weak, it's easy to say, I'm just going to have to give up and lay low. Or we can heal by reminding ourselves that divine life is within us. So we're not reaching for, we're accepting what is of God here and now. That's the healing process. Wouldn't it be great if we were expressing that on a regular basis along our path? My hunch is you're going to have lots of opportunities to do that. And then also last week we talked about God expressing through learning. Really, healing and learning are tied together because since healing is about renewing the mind, as Paul would say, then think of learning as a way to renew your mind. Actively learning. If we don't grow and change throughout life, we stagnate and die. I don't want to scare anybody here, but when you decide to retire, be careful because your mind and your body might think you're done. When instead you could actually be using all this free time to be learning new things, to be growing and expanding and understanding more, not only of God, but of life and everything that's going on around us, especially who we are. So learning is a process that we choose to do, and as we commit to it, it's an opportunity for our divine potential to come out. Spirit has so many ideas that it wants to express through us. And when we commit to learning, that's when we are basically telling our mind, okay, let's just see what divine ideas are there for me in this. We don't have to go to the library all the time. We could just sit in meditation, ask, and it is given. Allow Spirit to show us what's possible for us in this learning process. So, as part of our unity community, our path of divine potential is that we come together here to heal and to learn. But you also can do that on your own, and I hope that you are doing that. Today, we're going to talk about a couple other ways that Spirit expresses through us if we let it be. And one of them is leading. I hear the door slamming shut in your mind. And you're probably thinking, you know, I was not born a leader. I'll just follow, tell me what to do. Or maybe you're that free spirit that wants to do everything on your own. You don't want to be part of a group. Possible. But I'm just going to ask, don't check out yet. Would you just stay open for the next few minutes as we talk about leadership and just see, possibly, if Spirit has something to say to you about this? Because I am absolutely sure you have what it takes to be a leader. Everyone in this room, everyone on this planet has what it takes to be a leader. Why? Because God is at my center and is my source. Spirit knows what's needed. Spirit knows when it's time for a leader to step forward. But if we start with, that's not me, too many cooks spoil the pot, then you're basically shutting the door on Spirit to express itself through us. So you might just want to stay open. I know it's easy to look at the one with the microphone and decide that's the leader. Or maybe the one that got all the votes. Maybe it's the one that owns the company or got the PhD or is just really pushy. But what if leadership was defined a little bit differently up here on the screen? What if it was if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. You've probably already done that at least once in your life. You have the potential to step into your greatness here when there's a greatness within you. So I want to talk about a few examples of leadership here that anyone could do if you are two things. You are noticing and you are caring. That's what it's going to take, I think, for us to step into leadership, is to be someone who notices what's happening around them, and when there's a need, you care enough to step in to fill it. So let me give you an example. This week I got an email from someone, and they said, you know, I've been looking at our 4 new Keurig machines. Anybody use the Keurig machines this morning? Yeah, great. And they said, you know, I'm a little concerned about caring for our planet while we're using our Keurig machines because of their waste. So I've been thinking about how we might be able to handle that and come up with some ideas. That's a perfect example of leadership. It involves more than just themselves. It involves a group of people. It's going to involve other people helping out. And it may just be for a moment that we step into leadership. It could be a season, might be a lifetime. But if we're not open, if we're not even noticing, this person was noticing and thinking and caring and stepping into a moment of leadership. You see how easy that is? So let me talk about some other ideas. What if a leader was someone who connected not only yourself to others, but others to others? To give people a chance to get to know each other, find out what they have in common, and say, oh, I need to introduce you to so-and-so. You guys might be able to learn from each other. That's a step in leadership. If you're the social butterfly around here, this is a job for you, to just keep track of who people are and what they like. And it's also about coming into a group setting, noticing, you know, who has a skill or a talent that you admire. And you might want to encourage them to use that gift more often, or at least compliment them on their gift. A leader might be somebody who can walk into a situation and spot what's missing. And whether they can actually step in or call people into or know someone who's got the right skills to handle that situation and call them into it, you're noticing and caring. Spirit will guide you on this. What if you just notice what's not working well? Where maybe people are arguing or just a little bit tense, and it's an opportunity for you to be the calm person. I tell you what, if that's all that leaders did is they walked into chaos and brought calm, oh, hallelujah, let's do it now. Y'all can do that. Even if you just step in, take a breath, not be pushy, not like have to say anything, not have to fix anything, but just be there holding the consciousness God is in this, focusing on what God is. You will see the group around you responding without ever having to say a word. You might be the one who can come in and see what the obstacles are and be able to help figure out how to remove things. Or if something's missing, something's not working well, you might be the person that brings the group together and says, this is missing, what's your ideas? See, you don't have to be the PhD here. You just have to notice and care. And then when you interact with others in leadership, it's an opportunity for you to open up to see how Spirit wants to be spoken or expressed here in this moment. But I love what Henrik Ibsen says about it up here on the screen. He says, a community, it's like a ship. Everyone ought to be prepared to take the helm. So let me just offer one other thing about that. How about leader in training? Anybody want to be a leader in training? Here's how you do it. If you're over here on a Sunday and you see me doing something that you think you could do, feel free to let me know and see how quickly I say, it's all yours. That's just being a leader in a moment, leader for the day, whatever it is. Yes, you can help any leader in that situation. And if any of them have a brain, they will say yes to you. So when we're talking about leading, we're talking about noticing the need and caring to repair. Or maybe not fixing, but maybe it's about you have an inspiration. You have an idea that you want to share to lift this situation higher. So you don't have to be an expert. Just keep touching in with your divine wisdom and see what Spirit's trying to be brought forward in this, what's needed and what's desired in this moment. Something that Harold Sherman wrote. He said, we realize that we can best serve those we love by setting an example of right thought and right conduct and giving them the free opportunity to pattern their lives after us in their own way. So leadership isn't necessarily about ordering people around. It's be the change in the world, be the change that you want to see in the world, and people will notice that and follow. That means we all have the ability to be a leader. Unity's purpose for being and walking this path of divine potential is encouraging everyone to learn how to be a leader at one moment in time. Our board of directors, we're electing new board members today. That's going to be one of the things on our agenda this year is leadership development. So if that sounds like something you've been interested in and you want to learn more, let us know. But just keep your heart open. This is not only our opportunity as a congregation to grow, but also our individual opportunities to grow. So just try something that supports the whole. What's for the highest good of everyone involved that I have to offer here? And make it known. So it's interesting as we're going along our path to see that as God expresses as a leader, it's very similar to serving. You know, Jesus, we might think of the leader of the Christian movement, never came to be the leader of the Christian movement. But he did come to serve, surprise, surprise. From the book of Luke, he says, the greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like one who serves. For who's greater, the one who's at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. He demonstrated that throughout his ministry. You know, I think if we were to take a poll of folks in the United States, what do you prefer, serving or being served? What do you think the majority would say? being served. Really? OMG, that surprises me. See, I would have thought they would think the right answer is to serve. But, kudos to you for being authentic. So let me give you an example. I went to a store that will remain nameless this week. And it was the kind of store that had 20 self-serve checkout lanes, and it had maybe 10 service lanes, full service lanes, but there was only one checker working. So some of the self-serve lanes were being used, but there were about 6 people in line at the one full service lane. I wanted to be served, so I got in that line. And not long after that, I was number 7, number 8 came. We were there so long, we just started chatting. We knew each other well by the time we were finished. We shared that we both colored our hair. She admired my cut, We had quite the conversation there. Yeah, and then the line got longer and longer. And me, I don't know if this is a good trait in me, I consider it a leadership trait, is anytime an employee would walk past close enough to hear me, I'd say, is there any chance you have another checker that could come and open up another lane? And they'd just go, all the managers are in a meeting. Okay, so I'm breathing, I'm looking at my watch, which I don't wear, but I know internally this is taking too long. And finally, about, I'm guessing 15 to 20 minutes into this long line, because there was something going on with the 3 people at the head of the line that never moved. All right, so then at that point, another person came to open up another lane, and if we truly believed, I'm here to serve, then what would have happened is the people at the front of the line would have switched over to the new open line, right? That's the normal, isn't it? Evidently not. Human beings are here to be served. So the last guy in line went, last guy, and I'm like, Okay, so that's my point, is that I think human beings prefer to be served. Long story to make that happen. But let me share with you what I found in a chat room about whether you want to be served or not, or be a server. She said, I like both because you feel happier when other people serve you, but you learn more and you get more benefits when you serve others. It's like the benefits of serving might be 14 times higher than the blessings God gives you when others serve you. So you may have noticed that you feel better when you do an act of service than when someone gives something to you. Give and it shall be given to you, Jesus said. Also from A Course in Miracles, today I learned the law of love, that what I give my brother is a gift to me. Yeah, so there's all kinds of benefits to serving, being generous, coming from a consciousness of generosity versus a grudge. Okay, this is the right thing to do. That's not going to help you at all. Giving, it's not going to help you at all if you're doing it out of obligation. So it needs to come first and foremost from a heart, a desire to serve, to be of service. And it turns out it promotes the survival of the species. Birds and bees and bats have all learned that when they support each other in service in some way, it has propelled their species further along the evolutionary scale. So if you want to survive, you might want to learn how to be a server at heart, a servant at heart. We know that it feels good. We also can probably do a little research and discover you will have overall better health and live longer if you are regularly serving from the heart. And it's also something that's going to create more peace in your workplace, your work environment. You're going to feel better in your relationships when you come at it from that attitude of service. You're also going to have better self-esteem. You're going to be happier. We were designed to be this servant that actually you were designed, and you started that way as children. I don't know if you know that, but kids are way more prone to helping than adults are. So why do you think that is? Why is it that when we get into adulthood, we're not so much in that servant mode? Anybody? Ego? More responsibilities. Preoccupied. Tired. Not my problem. I got my own problems, right? Yeah, that's very common. So the things we normally give of ourselves is our time, our energy, and our resources. So here's where I think the number one problem with taking on a servant attitude comes from: fear. It's the fear that if I give of my time, my resources, my energy, I won't have enough left for me. So I would say that to be a servant requires some faith. We have to go back to the center, the sun in the middle of us, that God is our source. God is the provider of all good. God is the wisdom and love and the energy that I'm giving away. And how is God? Infinite. So we're never going to run out of that. If we could get established in the sun, in the center of our being, and know there is enough of me to be able to give of my time and my resources and my energy and still have enough for me. Because that's the nature of God. God is always giving of itself. He's created a universe that's always giving of itself. So if we get into this mentality that I might run out, we are engaging the divine law that says, okay, let me show you that you're right. And we do run out. See, I told you I shouldn't have gone into that nursing home today and sung to those people. I'm exhausted. Because that's what we started with. That's why we have to have a servant heart before we start serving, or else we will become depleted. Not because it's the right thing to do, not because, we're obligated. It's about this is the way we were designed, and it's all good. Jesus said that if you try to save your life, you'll lose it. He said that if you want to be first, you shall be last, and the last shall be first. So if we want the universe to work in tandem with us, with all of its good, we have to get into that flow of the giving, serving, and the abundance just keeps working itself back into our life. So Myrtle Fillmore is one of our co-founders of Unity. Here's what she said about it. When we forget our own desires and devote ourselves to doing what God would have done, this moment and constantly, we shall find that there is no limit to the strength we have and the things we can do. We've yielded ourselves to the source and entered into a oneness that makes us receptive to all that the source is and holds for us. Gardner Hunting says, loving, self-forgetting service is the shortest, the safest, and the surest way to God. Because we're actually being God. We're actually expressing the divine nature through us. The tradition of the Upanishads said that if you want to be happy, be giving. So we're here at Unity giving you lots of opportunities for service. That's what this community is about. We're not all here to serve Kitty. We're here to serve each other. Let me think about that a minute. Just kidding. Yeah, but if you look at our mission statement, it's about personal growing and joyful knowing of our oneness with Spirit and each other. That's what you find when you are in service to each other. So let's talk quickly about a few ideas for serving our group and ourselves and each other. Again, come into a situation, look around, see what's going on, and just ask yourself, how can I help? Maybe you're just saying that to yourself first, but you're just asking the question. What if you just completely shifted your paradigm for how you view the world? And every time you walked into a new situation, you stopped, you took a breath, you noticed, and you asked yourself, how can I help? It may not always be an opportunity, but you never know. What's out of place? What's missing? How can I bring that? How can I fill that? Things aren't going well. How about instead of complaining about it, how can I help? Look around and see if somebody needs encouragement today. Or perhaps they're giving of themselves and you can offer gratitude. That's a form of service, is sharing your gratitude with others. What if somebody just needs you to be present for them? Holy cow. When we finish the service every week and I ask you to find someone that you haven't met yet, there's a great opportunity to just be the one listening. Now, I don't want to see two of you just looking at each other. Somebody's got to say something. Get the conversation going. But I think we're good enough at being able to sense the energy of each other. Do you know what I mean by that? Whether someone's up or down in any given moment. And just see if you're running into something that feels heavy in another person, just be there for them. What's up for you? Simple question. So what's up for you? Could be positive, could be negative. You never know what they're going to share. But if you could just be there with them without fixing, just listen, that's an attitude of service. That's a way of giving. Most ministers probably wouldn't say this to you, but this is me, so here I go. For years, decades, and being involved in churches, I've done a lot of studying about churches and their cultures. And did you know, across the line, no matter what kind of culture or what kind of denomination it is, that there's this model that says 80% of your congregation will be there to receive and 20% will be there to give. They teach classes on this in seminary. So I don't believe that that's our ratio here in this congregation. But what if, first of all, you might want to just check in with yourself. Did I come in here to receive today or give or both? That's a possibility too. But what if you found out, I did just come in here to receive today. What if before you left, you looked around for someone else, somebody in the 20% zone who's visibly giving in some way, and you just stop by and say, thanks for doing that today. Really appreciate you. That's a form of service, bumps you into the 20% category. I'd like to think that we're more like 50, 60% on that we're here to serve. I've seen it in you. Let me think a bit. I would say 60, maybe even 70% of you are here to do both. I can feel it, and I've seen it. So thank you for that. And life goes on. We're going to continue to have opportunities. You walk out the door, you have an opportunity to be a service. God is always giving of itself, but can only do for us what God can do through us. Right. So that's our opportunity. Whether Spirit wants to express through healing or learning or leading or serving in us, number one, we have to notice that. We have to be willing to be part of that. We have to allow and trust that the resources are within us to express themselves as that. Keep listening, keep watching, keep noticing those opportunities, and every once in a while say yes. And just practice a little bit. You will find that it becomes easier and easier and a whole lot of fun. I'm not kidding. A whole lot of fun. We have some folks here today that are stepping into a new level of beingness in their spiritual community. They're becoming Unity members. And when you become a member here of Unity, it's not like a special club where you get all the perks. It's actually, really, you're stepping into a lot more of service and leadership and all those good things. And when you first come into Unity, it's just one of the paths. We've got this path up here that we're talking about. It's just one of the paths to experience God. There's all kinds of ways to do that. So the group that's becoming members today have decided, hey, this is my path. These are my peeps. I get the principles. It resonates with me. This is my home. And they're ready to make a deeper commitment to their path in their spiritual growth. And it's not required for anybody to be a member to come here and enjoy everything that we have to offer to you. It's just that this particular group is ready to step into a deeper level, which means it's more about giving instead of getting. Some of the things that they commit to is making more time for their own learning and spiritual growth. It matters enough to them that they're committing to that. They're committing to more time in service and financial support to their spiritual community, and basically committing to being a loving, integrous person here, authentic with the group. It's also an opportunity to, as we practice putting Spirit first in our lives, to learn the truth that when we do commit to seeking God first, our families, our work life, our creativity, everything that we do on a day-to-day experience as human beings is supported by the universe around us because we've chosen first to give ourselves to Spirit. So if I'm wrong about that, members, let me know. If you feel like, hey, I'm giving too much time to Unity, I'm giving too much time to my spiritual life, it's not working for me, I want to hear about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call our new members forward here. I'm going to invite Nicole to come over here. If you want to just grab my bags over here. And I'm going to bless them. It's real simple, so if you're going to be a new member today, don't freak out. Cameraman, I'm walking. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to line them up over there. You can have a seat for a minute, Nicole. It's going to be a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them to put their hands out like this, and then I'm going to anoint their palms with oil. So we anoint their right hand for the spiritual work ahead and the left hand for the physical work ahead. And I use the symbol of a circle, like what we've been talking about on the path of divine potential. That circle helps to remind them that that infinite center, that infinite source that never ends and is always around us and within us is in me. And so anything that I need as a source of power is going to come from within, from the God within. So when they go out and face life, they are being reminded, my center and my source is at my center. All right, and one of the things I want them to do as they stand here is just open up their heart to trusting this is a moment I commit to a greater understanding of my spirituality. That's probably the number one thing we want to think of with membership, an opportunity to commit to a greater understanding of my spirituality. So as I call your name, if you'll come line up over here, and when we're all done with the anointing, you can come by with the bags and just take a look at that first bag with the little sign on the front of it. Okay, so if you want to line up over here, Jeff Bruno, Casey Cox, Linda Grothendick, Rick Hultgen, come on, Christina Cannonen, Jill Maddox, Amanda Olajars, and Carlos Salgado. Just so you know, I'm using frankincense and myrrh oil. May the power of God within you flow forth as love. Power of God within you flow forth. Love, wisdom, infinite good. Flow forth as love. Power of God within you flow forth as love, wisdom, and good. Power of God within you flow forth. Okay, you want to hand those out? And I'm going to invite you all to help me bless our members up here on the screen. This to me is appropriate for everything that's represented in becoming a member of Unity. So let's say this together. Make me an instrument, Lord, of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may seek not so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, it's in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. And we bless you together. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ living as you. Namaste. You may be seated. Well, Nicole's got some gifts for you. That's fine. Everyone else gets one. There you go. Didn't want to make it complicated. I'll just tell you, there's a book in there for everyone. However, I didn't want you to both get the same book because you can share the book, so you got a different book. Oh, you may be seated, you guys. Thank you. And let's just take a moment to give them to them. She's going to come around and give you your certificate, so raise your hand so she can find you. members, raise your hand. New members, raise your hand so she can find you. Ah. Let's take a breath. Ah. Just allow that Spirit of God to make itself known in your heart. You might want to start by just breathing through your heart. And with every breath we take, we become more and more aware of the vibrancy of life. We feel lighter in spirit, knowing in this moment all that I need is here. I need go nowhere for my good. I simply rest in the knowing God is my source. God is my center, and I am at the center of God. If there's something that's grabbing at your attention and saying, I need something, what does God have that would fill that need right now? Is it divine life in our bodies? We allow its vibrancy to make itself known now. Is it a question that we need an answer for? Thank you, God, for the right and perfect answer, the wisdom that guides my steps. Is it healing in a relationship? The divine heart knows only good. Present here and now. I allow that divine love of God to express itself through me. And I see the goodness in that other person that is God. One with the one. All that we need begins at the center of our being. So grateful to know that all that we need is here. And in this moment, we let go of anything that stands in the way. And let love lead us to our highest and best. This is God, this is loving universe at work. And so we say thank you. The truth of our life, God and good, are here. And so it is.